Ladies and gentlemen, hey, hi, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for stopping by. Because we've seen a handful of new meta updates drop here in Warzone recently, the best of the best when it comes to time to kill has been changed up. They've adjusted several of these weapons. We've seen new things added in. So today I wanted to go through and break down the new fastest TTK options you can use right now, starting first with a pretty crazy one. This is not the most realistic one, and oftentimes when it comes to the best TTK guns, there are significant trade-offs, whether it be ease of use, whether it be mobility, like certain things like that. The skill gap is usually much higher with these guns. That's why they're the fastest TTK, higher risk, higher reward, and the Razor 9mm Wildfire is one of those. Now, all the TTK stats here are courtesy of COD Unity. At 10 meters, which is about where you're going to be using this thing maximum, this thing's got a 520 millisecond TTK, where it absolutely melts. The problem with the Wildfire, though, is that this thing bounces. Like, you're just not going to be getting kills consistently at, 25 meters when players are moving around and bouncing around. This is meant for close range and close range exclusively, but in that close range, this thing melts. So here, first up, the most important part is this 9mm Wildfire conversion aftermarket part. This gives you an 85 round mag, so you can spray and pray. It gives you better velocity, which is nice, but also you're not going to notice that as much like in the close range. Then the fire rate goes crazy, a 1500 RPM. It spits bullets, but beyond that 12-meter damage range, it's just not going to be super reliable as far as control goes, even though I've basically got max control on here. I do not like the irons whatsoever, so I'm still rocking a Lethal Tools ELO here. But then beyond that, compensator, better vertical control, horizontal control under barrel here, so max predictability there. And then I even go for the control pad, which is better horizontal and vertical control. And even then, when you get into the mid-range, this thing is just really rough to stay on target with. But this isn't too slow. This isn't too bogged down by any means. Even though you're going all in on control for the close range, this thing is still snappy and aggressive, and in that first damage range, it absolutely destroys everyone and everything. Next up here, we've got a bit of a throwback one, the MCW from Modern Warfare 3 with the Jack conversion kit on here that basically turns it into the ultimate sniper support option, quite frankly. If you guys played MW3 Warzone, BO6 Warzone, this was an aftermarket part that was consistently in the meta as one of the best sniper support options in the game, one of the best close to mid-range rifles, and it's still holding its own here at 20 meters, again, like prime, close range, mid-range, getting into some sniper support territory. 600 millisecond TTK, not bad at all. It's always nice to go through and actually see some old legacy weapons still be able to compete, even in cases where like the feel of this won't be as straightforward as a BO7 gun. There is a bit of a skill gap there in terms of control and handling, but if you land shots with it, it's gonna rip. So obviously we got the Jack Raven kit on here, turns this from a low recoil long range rifle in the MCW into a close range sniper support beast. So that's obviously the most important part of the setup. Beyond that, I like the Night Owl Model 2023 optic. I use this a lot during MW3 and BO6 Warzone, so this works fine for me. This is a matter of preference, though. If you like a different scope more, feel free to rock that instead. Every suppressor here is basically going to do the same thing, so it doesn't really matter which one you're choosing here, whether you want a Shadow Strike or a Scratch or whatever, or a Spirit Fire. They're all going to give you better velocity and damage range, so 22-meter effective damage range with that fastest TTK. 547 velocity is not insane, but for the close range, it'll be sufficient on there. I do like the Jack Slash, some better control, but also some better movement speed, so it's more aggressive and it's easier to use. And then the 40 round mag here, max extended mag, obviously going to want to go for that for all squad sizes as well. So nice to see the Jack Raven kit still able to hold its own, especially in that sniper support niche. And keep in mind, as we are going through all the weapons and setups, if you guys enjoy this video, you find the information helpful, do me a favor, drop a like. It's a great way to help grow the channel and share the video around to new viewers. If you happen to be one of those new viewers, you want to make sure you're always in the know for everything going on in Call of Duty, whether it's the latest news and updates, meta breakdowns like this is the place to be. So feel free to hit that subscribe button and turn on those post notifications. Next up here, a bit more of an obvious one, but it clearly is one of the best TTK choices in the game, the AK-27. This thing has been a meta tier rifle for some time now. This thing absolutely shreds, really at all ranges, quite frankly. At 60 meters, prime mid to long range there, where this gun's going to be the most effective. 719 millisecond TTK, which by comparison to other options is insanely fast, and they have buffed the recoil over time. It's still got a little bit of bounce, but as you get more and more familiar with this gun and its handling, you'll be able to beam players at some pretty surprising distances. So here, first up, I do like the Lethal Tools elo quite a bit. If you like the look of the hover point elo, this also offers some recoil stabilization, so you could absolutely switch over to that as well. Really a matter of preference, but both of those are sort of my go-tos as it stands. Monolithic suppressor for better range, better velocity, gonna keep us off the radar as well. And the control barrel here makes this thing even more accurate. If you want to get close to achieving that on-paper TTK, you got to be as accurate as possible. This helps out a ton, plus it also gives us better velocity. So we got a 1269 velocity, insanely good for that hit scan range, 45 meter effective damage range, 73 meters second damage range, where this thing will just melt. Horizontal control underbarrel yet again here, so the pattern is going to be as predictable as it can be because of that. And then also extended mag 1 or extended mag 2 here, really either or will work. You get 15 extra bullets here for a little bit more of a slowdown with like your ADS and your reload. So if that matters more to you, you want those extra bullets on there for that added safety net, go for extended 2. If you like the slightly faster extended 1, both are going to work just fine. But the AK in general is one of the best guns hands down, and one of the fastest killing choices we've got as it stands. Another really fun legacy option here, the XMG. We've talked about this thing a good bit because, quite frankly, it's a low recoil beast that also happens to have one of the best TTKs in the entire game. At 60 meters, again, just up there with the AK, this has a 709 millisecond TTK, so a tad bit faster than the AK, and in my opinion, much easier to use. There's not as much awkward bouncing with this thing. Obviously, it is an LMG, so it's going to be a little bit slower, a little bit heavier, of course, but you're playing long range. Mobility is not going to be the most important thing in the world for a setup like this. So here for the optic, really a matter of preference. I like the Otoro red dot on my Black Ops 6 options quite a bit, so I go ahead and I rock that. I've also got monolithic suppressor on here for that better range and velocity. 1032 velo is sufficient. 95 meter effective damage range. No, that's not a typo. That is the actual stats there, where this thing is utterly absurd. I do go for fast mag 1. It's still a 75 round mag, and it makes it a little bit more aggressive, which with a heavy slow LMG, any aggression you can get is always a good thing in my opinion. The buffer weight stock is what helps make this thing so easy and so straightforward, because it's doing a ton for your recoil control there. And then I go ahead and take it a step further. I stack recoil springs on here. I want this thing to be just point and shoot laser beam at any distance I'm fighting, and recoil springs on top of the buffer weight stock make this thing utterly insane. Not often do you see fast TTK guns that are also insanely easy to use, but this is one of those that happens to check both those criteria, and it is insanely good because of it. And then lastly here, one of the most versatile options in the game, the Egert 17. I'm focused with this build more on like the mid to long range, because at 50 meters, this has a 670 millisecond TTK, but this thing is good for sniper support. This thing is good for the long range. It's really not too difficult to use. It's got pretty straightforward recoil control, so you could build this thing out in a multitude of ways, and it's going to excel in all different types of engagements. So here, first up yet again, I've got the Lethal Tools elo. If you're more of a fan of the hover point elo though, feel free to go ahead and switch over to that. Monolithic suppressor, range, velocity, keeps us off the radar, of course. Then the hybrid barrel I quite like here as well, but quite frankly, long barrel would be good here. Control barrel would be good here. Really is a matter of preference. Do you want even more recoil control at the expense of some range? Do you want a little bit of range, a little bit of velocity? I like this with an 1185 velo, 45 meter first damage range, 65 meter second damage range. I think that gets the job done perfectly. Extended mag 2 here, 60 rounder. That's going to work fine for all squad sizes. And then I go for recoil springs as well, just to make this thing a little bit easier. If you were to go for the control barrel instead of hybrid, you could maybe drop the recoil springs, unless you wanted to just stack even more control, which is certainly applicable. But if you wanted to use the control barrel, you could use an underbarrel for some mobility and some control. You could use a stock for better strafe speed if that's more your style. Like I said, there's so many different ways you could build out the Egert. There is not a one setup is the absolute best. It's not a one size fits all sort of deal. There are so many different options and different combinations you could end up doing with this thing, and all of them are going to be extremely effective. But that being said, those are 5 of the best TTK guns in Warzone right now, and that's going to wrap things up. If you guys enjoyed the video, be sure to drop a like on it, and if you're new here, hit that subscribe button so you can always guarantee you are in the know for everything going on in COD. But once again, thank you so much for tuning in, and until next time, take it easy, have an awesome rest of your day, and I'll catch you later. Peace out.